Bonjour tout le monde, bienvenue. On a la chance d'avoir mon amie Catherine McKenna avec nous autres maintenant. Je vais demander la première question à Catherine. Catherine, c'est une femme très impliquée dans sa communauté à Ottawa. Catherine, dis-nous un peu, parlez-nous de vous, ce que vous faites au sein du Parti libéral, plus généralement dans la vie.
Mais alors, est-ce que je peux parler en anglais?
Oui, oui, c'est dans les deux langues, allez-y.
Je peux parler en français, c'est un peu plus lent. I started an organization called Canadian Lawyers Abroad.
Oui.
I built it up over the years, and I'm involved in an organization now that engages young people in public policy, and I'm also running for the nomination in Ottawa-Centre.
Wow, that's a lot. But the most important thing that Catherine is going to do later on in the convention, she's going to be on a very important panel, which is going to be talking about women and engagement in politics. I mean, I have the privilege of knowing you, so I know you have 3 young kids. So you've been, we were talking to Jennifer O'Malley-Dillon before, who, by the way, was delivered 1 week after, just the election in 2012 in the Obama campaign. So tell us a bit more. There's thousands of people listening to us at home. They want to get engaged, and they probably want to see how can you do that. You've successfully done it. So give us a bit of what you're going to be talking about today.
Well, obviously it's a lot of work, but for people that are moms, you're good at multitasking. And to be honest, so my kids are 9, 7, and 5. And the 2 eldest, my daughters, are thrilled. Like, they are my biggest supporters. I brought them to Parliament to see question period, and they were just so devastated by the lack of women, and they were also very annoyed by the tone. And so they are, you go, Mom. And in fact, before the convention, we were making buttons together. So it is great. It's a great way to engage them, and I actually think it's just really important that women step up. Sure. It's hard, but it's hard for most people to make this decision. And I'm lucky. I've got a very supportive spouse, and I have the conditions that make it possible right now. And we have a leader in Justin Trudeau, sure, who believes in the importance of his family, and the leader sets the tone, and that makes a huge difference for me. It makes me feel confident that there's going to be support, and that he believes in the importance of having women, the importance of having parents engaged, and that's what our session is really about. It's about women who have decided to make the leap into politics, and so hopefully it's a very positive session, but it's also to share the fears and how tough it is, and how we need to support each other, and we also need to broaden the discussion, so it's not just about women, it's about everyone. I mean, getting
but women come, they have a different approach, and they come to things differently. And we talk about how there's a lack of women in Parliament, in all of our House of Commons, everywhere. So how do we then engage them? I mean, how do we attract them to the party and to engage in politics and to become candidates? I think there is a new generation of women who are engaged. I'm a lawyer, so I know in law schools you see lots of women, although at the top we still have a challenge. I think it's really, approaching good candidates and encouraging them to run, and women having the confidence. Men will often just do it, and women, Sheryl Sandberg, it's become a bit of a cliche, but you need to lean in. And I do think that you will find that you will have the support of your community, that people really, really want women to run, and they want women to run who represent them, who are just normal women. I'm not a superstar. I'm just someone who really believes in the importance of stepping up, that we need women's voices. Not all women have the same views on issues, but women have a different perspective, and I actually think women are very pragmatic. It's about getting the job done. So fighting and yelling and screaming is not going to be what's going to help Canada become better. So I think that's really important. Is that what your daughters were responding to in the House of Commons?
I just think that they got it there, and they thought it would be something different. And we were there, and there was a class there, and I think they thought it would be something different. So I think that there's an opportunity now to set a more positive tone, sure, and reach out to young people, reach out to people, my friends who are parents who don't make the link between the issues they care about, sure, and what they see in the House of Commons, and I think that has to change for our country.
Mais c'est un peu ce que je reprends pour nos auditeurs francophones. Ce que nous disait Catherine finalement, c'est que le chef du Parti libéral, Justin Trudeau, a une vision très ouverte de la famille. Lui-même a des petits-enfants, on en a parlé hier, donc le tone comes from the top. Les gens disent souvent, on regarde le leader, puis on se dit, je pense que le Parti libéral c'est un parti où il y a une place pour la famille, il y a une place pour les femmes, évidemment. Mais moi, je sais, parce que j'ai eu le privilège de connaître Catherine, Catherine a fait beaucoup aussi en termes d'organisation. On a des milliers d'auditeurs qui nous regardent présentement à la maison, beaucoup de gens d'une province à l'autre, d'un territoire à l'autre, qui se demandent si je veux m'impliquer, qu'est-ce que je peux faire? Et moi, je sais que Catherine a fait beaucoup de travail dans le secteur d'Ottawa, dans la ville d'Ottawa. Donne-nous 2 ou 3 choses, parce que les gens se demandent souvent si je suis une femme au travail, si je suis quelqu'un de seul, comment je peux m'impliquer?
Well, I mean, so there's different ways to step up. You can step up as a candidate, but often the best way to get involved is just, there's a local campaign. It doesn't have to be a federal campaign. Just go and don't feel intimidated. I mean, I have lots of people on my team who have never been involved in politics before. And, there's everything from door knocking to high level policy. And there's an opportunity for everyone. And I think then it demystifies it, that you see that you're actually part of a team and that you can contribute. So that's one way to do it, but also just being out in the community. Women are often, helping out, with their kids' activities. They're out in the schools. They're creating a network, and that's really part of it. If you're going to run, having a strong network is really, really important. And then there are the other skills. It does help if you have people that will contribute financially. But I think women can build that, and I think they have those assets. I really think it's the confidence factor. It's just thinking I am good enough to do this, and I'm going to step up.
It's interesting that you read "Lean In" too, because that is exactly it. There are things that we can do to bring women in, but women themselves have to find their voice as well in the political process. Sure. And it's interesting for you to say too that women are already very connected to their communities. So what are you going to be discussing in your panel session today? Are you going to be dealing with strategies, specific strategies, or?
Well, so the session's tomorrow from 7 to 8. Okay. So hopefully we get lots of people there. And I'm having a discussion with Riva Seth. So she is an awesome woman who's written a best-selling book called The Mum Shift. Mm-hmm. And The Mum Shift is about women, average women, who have achieved greater success after having kids. And we're going to talk about it in the political context, but I think we don't hear enough of the stories about women that have done great things, that having kids isn't a barrier. It may mean you do things differently, you may delay things, but at the end of the day, often, I mean, at least for me, having kids meant that I really had to focus on what I wanted to do and what I wanted to spend my time on, because it was so valuable to me. So we're going to be talking about these positive stories and then linking it to the political context and how women, can get involved in the different strategies and the role models, which aren't necessarily the Sheryl Sandbergs, because sometimes people think, well, Sheryl Sandberg is amazing. That's not me. And this is just about women that decided to, step in a different way.
Well, and it touches, we just interviewed Jennifer O'Malley Dillon, right, who was working with the Obama campaign, and she said that, a lot of times to engage people, you have to tell them your own personal story. Absolutely. So how did you become a candidate? Like, how did you decide to lean in yourself? I mean, obviously you're a lawyer, you founded an international organization, but what made you decide to actually get right into the process as a candidate?
Well, so I've been involved outside of the system for a long time, working with my NGO on issues that I really care about. So international issues, issues involving Indigenous people, issues involving human rights in the justice system. And I just got fed up. I'm just a very practical person. And I thought, working outside the system is not working. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to try to change things. And that sounds quite idealistic, but I think that with enough people who do this, we actually can make a change. And I think Canada wants a change. And so in some ways it's a bit negative.
We're sensing that we're about to begin. Thank you, Catherine McKenna.
But Catherine, you are most welcome. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And you're always invited on the show. Come back after your session.
Thank you, Catherine.
Merci,
We'll go to the
Catherine.
main stage.
Merci.